get us started with recording so that we have this information for those who want it as a recap for later. But remember, December 8th, anyone who's not on this call, who's from your network that you want to have access to the back end, who's going to be doing some of your microsite management, make sure they come to the December 8th training so that we can help them with some hands-on stuff. Joli and I wanted to do just a quick and dirty little bit of background on us individually. And I'm going to have Joli introduce herself first. I've got a couple of questions for her. Hey, Joli, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sam Powell.
Hey, Joli, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been a part of Women's Council of Realtors?
I've been a part of Women's Council for 5 years now.
5 years, half a decade. Look at you. Look at you. And what have you done in your network? Like, what kind of roles and positions have you had so that these people can have a good sense of how well-rounded you are in our Women's Council leadership? What have you been up to?
So I'm part of Las Vegas Network, and I have been with the past 5 years the social media and tech chair. Especially this year, I helped our network hold over 30 virtual events during pandemic, and I'm also now nationally a social media influencer this year and next year. So I just love it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Joli. And Joli has those same questions for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer them because she likes to play shy early on and makes me do the introductions every time we co-host with each other. So I let her slide under the radar for a hot minute and then she warms up to us. So it's awesome. But I just wanted to share that I've been with Women's Council for a decade now. And I just want you guys to know, like, we're resources to you as peers across the country. We're in this together. So we're in this to help each other. And so now you know a little bit about Joli and what she's, famous for. And so how to pick her brain if you need her as a resource moving forward during your Women's Council membership and leadership journey. I've done nearly every leadership position on a local level and a state level, and some of the national positions as well as faculty and steering committees and executive board, a national nominating committee for 2021, for the 2022 leadership, et cetera. So we are experienced and available to you guys. So don't hesitate to tap into us. Let's talk about microsites this morning. Our housekeeping rules and guidelines are pretty simple. If you have a question, throw it in the chat. We're going to be monitoring the chat. We're going to answer questions individually, as well as our hope is to cover some of your questions throughout our presentation this morning. And we've got a lot to cover. So let's get into this a little bit. We want to thank you for being here. We want to express that as members, like, we get what National is trying to do with us and for us with our national directive of let's all have the same brand management. Let's be using the same logos, the same colors, the same fonts. Let's be professional. Let's be consistent and cohesive across the country. That's the directive of our microsites as well, as let's all have the same tools and use those same tools so that we can train each other on how to use them, that we can work on them behind the scenes together and not feel alone in the I have a third-party website that I'm using. If we all use our microsites together, we are more powerful together by using those same tools and technologies. On the fact sheet that we're going to ship off to you a little bit later in the chat, what I love about what they put on there is the purpose of the microsite. And I'm going to read it to you because I don't have it memorized, but it's kind of like our little elevator speech, right? So the microsite is a national provided local and state website, and it's built through our national website, provided to you as a primary source of communication and dissemination of information. It is one of the baseline benefits that National provides its networks to assist in their success. So here's the message. Take advantage of this product that we're paying for as members and as leaders. And so let's bang on it together. Let's figure out ways to use it as a successful tool, and feel free to think outside of the box on ways to use it effectively within your network. And let's make this the best possible tool that we can. That being said, we are national. We will be global. We know this. We've been in conversations and are building relationships across the globe. So it's not just Las Vegas and Illinois using this microsite. It eventually is going to be it is our entire country and will be the entire globe as we continue to grow our Women's Council presidents across the country. And lastly, before I turn it over to Joli, is patience, right? It's technology. It's not perfect. We can't expect it to be perfect. What we do want from everyone is your ideas, the questions, the concerns that you're having, the problems that you're running into may feel isolated to you. Many of us have dealt with some of the issues that you're going to run into. So tap into us and we can help you resolve them a little faster than you trying to figure it out on your own, which is why we're going to do some hands-on training for you this morning. That being said, I'd like to turn it over to Joli, who's going to walk us through brand assets and our microsite. So thanks, Joli.
Let's do it. Good morning, you guys. Let me start screen sharing. Make you guys smaller. Cool. Perfect. So first we want to talk about the brand assets, brand management, and making sure that you're using the correct brand management with Women's Council. So I am on WCR.org, and where to find your brand asset information and your brand guidelines. The easiest place to find that is in the About section, and you'll just go down to brand assets. And this is where you're going to find the font information, Let's see, my Wi-Fi, there you go. So your font, your color codes, and Sam is actually going to put those in the chat. We did the dirty work for you, and we actually have the fonts ready for you to download, so you don't have to go hunt them and find a safe site. So thank you, Sam, for doing that.
You betcha.
Also, when you're working on your microsite, you have an event section, and this is where you're going to put all your events. National loves when we put our events there. 2 reasons. That way they can see the events you're doing, but you can also then always go into local network events on the Women's Council site and check out what everyone else is doing. I like doing that when I'm traveling. If I have like an extra day to play, I like to see if anyone's having an event near me, and just kind of check it out, especially virtually right now. You can watch all of the events if they put it up there. So when you're working on your events, we wanted to cover Canva really quickly. And our biggest recommendation with Canva, especially going into the new year, is making sure that you work with your upcoming board to have one Canva account. I recommend paying the pro version. You can pay it monthly or yearly. It's cheaper yearly. And this way, everything is together. In Canva, you can create a brand kit. And in the brand kit, you can have all of the colors. So I have all of the Women's Council colors. It's always there when I'm uploading a new project, and I can just click on it. Same with the fonts, it's always there. And I just, as you can see, I have the Las Vegas Women's Council because next year we are switching boards. So I just wanted to make sure they had everything ready, including making sure that you have your sponsorships in there, everything like that. So it's just a nice resource to have, and we recommend grabbing that, just so that way you guys are prepared. And finally, before we get into my favorite thing of microsites, let's talk about radius. So when you go onto a microsite, and I'm just clicking on Las Vegas, you will see all of your leadership team, making sure that their profile is updated. We found that the easiest way to get someone to update your profile is maybe have a contest. Say, listen, whoever updates their profile first, you get a Starbucks gift card in your board. Whatever you want to do to entice them to have their photo uploaded, make sure all of their information is there, is really important. And you can do that simply just going to WCR.org and clicking on your account and radius profile. Sam, am I missing anything with any of that?
Not anything is coming to mind. I've been working on, not that I'm not paying attention, but I've been working on putting some content and links in the chat for our peers. So I trust you, Joli.
Again. Now, let's actually get started with microsites. Let me refresh this page so I can log in. Now, the question that you want to ask yourself is, what is your goal with your microsite? Are you directing all of your members towards there to go on to events and register via that? Or are you just kind of keeping it updated? So if anyone wants to check out Las Vegas, it's there. Personally, for Las Vegas, we actually made our own domain that we link to the microsite, and we just did this on GoDaddy. And so all you do is type in WCRLV.org, and it will actually pop up the Women's Council of Las Vegas.
Which I think is brilliant. Like, what a great way to use our microsite and make it a personalized ability to brand and market your local network or state network. I think it's genius.
Absolutely. And then on our flyers, even on Las Vegas, we actually have 2 domains hooked up to the microsite. The other one is wcrlv.events, and it automatically takes them to our calendar section, which I love too. We add that to flyers. It's just easy to, especially if you're out and about and someone says, hey, what's the next WCR event? You're like, oh, go to wcrlv.events. So it's super easy. Now let's head over to wcr.org and click on admin. I'm actually going to log out so I can kind of go through the whole process with you guys. So when you log in, but my internet is not liking me today. Okay, you are going to have this admin button right here. When you click on admin, it is going to ask you to load your network. Now I'm going to really start in the basic section of the Women's Council website. We'll go into advanced in a little bit later, but you can either be really basic or you can kind of play around with it. And that's my biggest tip, is just play around with it. Spend, a couple hours one day just playing. You can't hurt it, so you're good. The first thing you'll see is the rosters. Now, the rosters are updating mid-December, right, Jeff? For anyone who's renewed currently. Jeff? Oh, okay. And then you also have everything else will be obviously in the beginning of the year, it will slowly updating. So that's where you're going to find your rosters. National.
Sorry, Joli, I was trying to unmute myself. Yes, around mid-December that will be updated, and we'll have a separate training on that during the first week of January.
Perfect, thank you. Going into editing your sites. The basic section is the home page. So when you scroll down, really easy you can do is you have the president's message, and that is going to be the first thing that you see. So here is the Las Vegas page, and here is the president's message. A little bit later, I'm going to show you how you can actually add a video, which is cool. It's a little bit more advanced, but you can do that. And I think it's a fun idea to have your president have a message, or maybe even the whole board, which I love.
Well, and using this site as a way to draw people back to it on a continual basis is, what if once a month, you, especially early on in your 2021 leadership, is each one of your leadership team deliver a message, a public announcement, a public message in a way, and the president can keep uploading new messages about upcoming events or whatever, but use your talents and the team, and let's get into this world of playing in this video space. And again, Joli's going to show you how you can upload videos eventually.
And then you have the center content, and it's completely up to you if you want to do anything in the center content. I have some of our virtual events that were a huge success up here, and that is going to be in a little bit later how I show you that. But this is just a way that you can type in any type of message, and then you're going to have your Facebook link, just so that way everyone can check out your Facebook. So let's scroll back up. Going into, and we're going to talk about events at the end. So let's head into documents. So your document section on the Women's Council is going to have 2 logos. Best place to, there you go. So in the document section, this is where you are going to put your bylaws, as well as your logos will be there. You can add additional things if you would like, but Women's Council prefers it's a little bit cleaned up. Something that Las Vegas does personally is normally we add our strategic partners. We create a flyer in the beginning of the year and upload it there as well. So that way it's easy for people to grab. I just like that the logos are there because you can then send off, someone says, hey, can I have the logo? So just go to our website. And then partners images.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the things that we want to deliver as a message to you is, as you take on the responsibilities of this microsite in 2021, is at the end of your 2021 leadership role, is go on this back end and start to do some cleanup, right? So there will be images that you've uploaded, documents and things that you've uploaded that you no longer are serving you and as relevant current content. So clean that stuff up before you hand it off to the 2022 leadership. That would be our ask. And build a relationship right now today after leaving today's class with your current leadership team so that you encourage them to also prepare the microsite on its back end to do any cleanup that's appropriate before they hand it off to you. But know that you may need to do some cleanup when you receive it if they haven't done that, okay? And we can help you with that if that's something you run into snags with. Go ahead, Joel.
Perfect. Partner images. Now, when you start uploading these, where you're going to be able to find them, I'm going to hop over to the website again, is you are going to find these right here, the strategic partners. And when you click on the actual logo on the website, it will take them automatically to their website, which I love. So hopping back in here, adding a new strategic partner, it's super easy. Once it loads, all you'll do is add your image and the name of the company, and then just the link to their website. And our biggest tip is when you get a new strategic partner, ask them, hey, listen, send me the link that you want it to go to, and then send me a good high resolution photo of the logo.
Hey, Jolie, we've got a couple of questions in the chat that this is a great time for us to answer them. Although they're unrelated to uploading images, it takes us back to this concept of one of Jolie's passions about the microsite is you as a local or state network determining how do you want to use this microsite? Like, what do you want to draw people to your site for? Like, what are the reasons? So their events, they're super interactive with their events before the event and in post-production, showing off what was done at the event, what was missed, and highlighting features of that event. One of the questions in the chat is, Jolie, who's responsible for managing and maintaining a microsite in 2021? I want Jolie to answer that question because I love her answer. And then Jeff, if Jeff wants to pipe in, we'll have him join us too. Jolie, what are your thoughts on that? Who's in charge of the microsite?
So in a normal board, that is something that you have to kind of decide on. I know personally we had myself do it on the local board just because I was the social media person. But you can, and Jeff, pipe in on this too, because it's just whoever fits best in that. Just making sure that someone is comfortable doing that. Jeff, what is your thought?
Here are my thoughts. We have a staff of 6 people at the national headquarters. Only 3 people are allowed to make any edits on WCR.org. Make sure it's the people who are the most technically proficient, who have been trained in the system and who know the system. When you have all hands on deck on a microsite and everyone is going in and making changes, the first thing is you have different areas of expertise, and the possibility exists of errors. So pick the people who know technology, who are intuitive with using it. And while we give access to all 6 leaders plus more if you wish, it's a really bad idea to have everybody going into the microsite.
Absolutely.
Hey, Jolie, we've got a question in the chat about a strategic partner. You're going to show us how to add one. Will you quickly demonstrate how to remove one? Elizabeth specifically asked this question, so we'll address that for you now, Elizabeth.
Absolutely. So all you'll do is just click on, once you are on, let me scroll up. Okay, so once you're on partner images, all you'll do is click on remove, and I don't want to remove one of Las Vegas's top. So let me, there you go.
So does that make sense? Like it's pretty intuitive, it's pretty plug and play, and it's technology, so it's not perfect. So refresh is one of your new best friends. Patience is always your partner in crime. And just double checking your work. Those would be our things, right? It's never going to be a perfect system or solution. So if something's not behaving the way you think it ought to, play nice and ask it to do it again, and maybe again before you get terribly frustrated with it. Would you agree, Jolie?
I agree. With the microsite, you just have to have patience and refresh it. It's a fantastic website. Like Jeff said, I was one of the first ones to get to play with it, and I absolutely love the site. You just have to have patience and play with it.
And would you add a new strategic partner just so they can see how easy it is to do that?
Yes, it is loading. My
Okay, fair
internet
enough.
doesn't like me. So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
is there any other questions, Sam, in the chat?
Yep. Yeah, I've got one right now, and it's will we ever be able to view an all members page like we used to be able to do? It was such a great feature we had. Great way to see all our active members as a network. I don't believe it's a current feature. Jeff is taking mad notes, I promise, right now as a feature that we'd like to have added to our wish list. But one of the solutions that I'd encourage you to maybe try as a current workaround is, as an admin, so whoever is going to be in charge of your microsite, one of the things that they could do, and I think monthly, right, just build a routine around it. When you have a new member, maybe highlight and feature that new member in a meaningful way in social media, or a little video introduction to them on your microsite. That'd be kind of a cool use of that space. But because you can download your roster at any time, what if on the beginning of every month you download that roster and then you copy and paste it into a nice elegant Canva template, as an example, that is titled, Las Vegas roster, and you upload that as a solution into your microsite, maybe just right in the body of your page, right in that center content. You can decide how you want to use each of those sections. You could have a message from your president, or you could use that as a welcome. We'd like to welcome and introduce our entire membership, right? So there's no one solution. Just as a team, decide how you want to elegantly use the site and bang on it and show people what it looks like, and then use it in that way that feels meaningful and right to your network.
I like that. Okay, so the partner images, my Wi-Fi does not like uploading right now. So what you'll do is with the partner images, it asks you just the name of the company. Let's see if it wants to work right now. It'll just ask you the name of the company, and then it will ask you for the logo and then the link. And like you saw next to the remove section, you can edit it as well, which is nice. Perfect. And then you have your site images. Site images, you don't have to worry about. You don't have to kind of play with. It's just there. It has all of your site images that you've ever uploaded. So any type of flyer, that type of stuff. But the easiest way to find it is in the back office. I always like to say the microsite has a back office, which is this, and then you have a back office, which I'll take you to. And that is where you will upload events and that type of stuff. To head over to events. Is there any other questions, Sam? Or are we good on questions?
I'm responding to a few so that they can get their response quickly before the new chats fill in. But this one is worthy of sharing sort of as a group. So Jeff, one of the comments made in our chat was about, I'm using a third-party solution right now as my local network website. We haven't yet transitioned it into the national provided microsite. Is there a simple, elegant plug-and-play way to make that transition? And I'm going to answer for Jeff because I can. And the answer is no. There is no simple, there's no way for us as a national organization to create a solution that could easily draw in content and info from every possible third-party solution that's available to you out there that some of our networks have been using over the years, for a couple of decades, in fact. So what we encourage, and what I put in the chat, Jeff and Joli, was you're not alone if you're using a third-party site. We absolutely want to see you transition into the microsite as quickly as possible. Like, let's use December as that goal for us to get you ready for a 2021 launch with your microsite as part of your advertising and marketing for your local or state network. So what Joli and I would offer to you is an opportunity to reach out to us individually or together, that we can set up a meeting with you, a quick and dirty meeting with you, to come up with a transitional game plan and help you migrate stuff from one place to the other. But my real message to you here is, if you're going to be using the microsite from National for the first time, what's most important from your legacy website is the most relevant 2020 content and 2021 content and information. So if there's stuff you want to keep for archival or legacy purposes, we can come up with a solution for that, but it doesn't need to be integrated into your microsite because we want that to be cleaned up every year. We want it to only be the 2021 strategic partners in January. We want it to only have documents related to, the bylaws and your standing rules updated appropriately with the old ones removed when appropriate, right? And if you're going to put your budget up there, your meeting minutes up there that have been ratified, at the end of the year, we're going to have you strip those down so that you're not keeping 10 years of documents and data on this site. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and those of you, the few networks that are still holdouts and haven't adopted the new site yet, I know who you are. You're just like me. When you have a new software update, you hold off as long as you can because you know that it's going to cause problems with some other device. And I think that was the case for the first 9 months or so. I think echoing what Sam says, this is the time where you're going to want to begin the transition. We're happy to work with you all on the pieces that you have on your old sites or platforms. Everything that you can do on these other sites, you should be able to do on the new microsite, and we're happy to work with you all on that transition plan.
We've got another question, which I think is worthy of us having a little dialogue around as national staff, et cetera, for your advice. So I've got access to my membership roster as an admin. I have access to sort of, update and showcase our membership as a roster in a way on our microsite if I wanted to do that workaround. Can I, as a local network, share email addresses of my membership, Jeff? Is that something that we can decide to do? Like, what's your thoughts?
Good question. So one of the reasons why the membership roster is only available to admins is on our old site, we had a public display of all the members. And the problem that we had was that the amount of spam people would get from Women's Council or from, these troll factories of sorts in other countries where they use your emails for a lot of different things. So it was a request from the networks that part be hidden. Again, it's your microsite. If it makes sense and if you wish to do it, nothing would preclude you from taking a member roster and putting them on your document site. But I would exercise caution on that. Members typically don't like their information out there. And again, you can easily find information on other members by using Radius, wcr.radius.com. You can find full information, the members' property listings, their full contact information, and so forth. But I'd just be careful about how you display member information out there.
Hey, Joli, as an example, I've got a question in the chat about back to strategic partners in a quick and dirty way. So once you upload an image, will you share, if you haven't already, and I apologize because I've been in the chat, how to provide that link that when I click on the strategic partner, it'll take me to whatever website they've provided to us to link to? So for example, if I, Sam Powell, am a strategic partner for Las Vegas, I could have the URL that I provide Joli to link to my strategic partner image to take you to Facebook or to my Instagram page or to my website, whatever I want that link to be. So don't feel like it has to be the National American Home Shield website. It could be a page to that specific, Sam Powell, who works for American Home Shield, her page, because she's the one providing resources to us. So it can be whatever link they want you to attach to their image, if that makes sense. And Joli's going to show you where you put that information. Here you go.
So this is when you click on partner images, you can either edit a partner at any time. Or you can click on, obviously, add. And so you'll put the image name, and this is where you're going to put the company, your partner's image, and then the image link. And then you can choose it if you want to open a brand new tab for someone. It's completely up to you if you want to do that. And this is where you'll put in their link. So for us, we just always have them send whatever link that they want. It could be their Facebook, it could be their YouTube, Instagram, wherever they feel their attraction is the most, right? Wherever they work the best at, that's where you want them to put. And it's a great feature to, offer a benefit to your strategic partners.
Totally. Thank you, Joli.
Of course. So let's head over to events. And this is where It's going to take us to the back office, like I like to say. Now in your events, again, this is where it's going to show you all of the events that you have uploaded. You can remove them, you can edit them. When you click on edit, it is going to take you into the back office. So let me just, I don't want to scroll too fast. Okay, create an event. And really quickly, while this loads, I want to show you what the actual calendar looks like on your microsite. So clicking on our calendar, it is going to take us to our events, and it is labeled obviously per month. You can go super in depth with this. You can add a description. You can add event sponsors. So I have our strategic partners for the year. You can add speakers if you want, as well as your agenda. And you can, for the speakers, for anything, you can actually embed images to that, which I think is really cool. So if you have a special speaker that you want to put up there, you can put their image and then maybe their bio or just their name, which I love. So again, you can go super in depth, or you can be really simple and basic, whatever you're comfortable with. So going back into the back office, this is what it looks like when you click create an event. First, you are going to put in the title. And this specifically is so important to have, because if you remember, when I clicked on events, it showed you this. That doesn't help you. When you need to go edit an event or remove an event, you have to remember, okay, when did I upload it? So making sure that you actually put the event title. It doesn't show anywhere else, but it's just easier for you to organize. Clicking on image. And first, actually, let me head over to Canva. And you can have any type of flyer that you want on here, any type of image. So this is just personally our next event. Making sure to do a PNG, the highest quality. Don't change the sizes, just keep it the same, and it will download.
And while Joli's in Canva, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, not unlike National giving us a microsite that every year access is automatically transferred to the next leadership team, one of the mindsets we want us to have is that concept in every tool and resource that your local network uses. So Canva, considering adding to your budget for 2021, a Canva for Las Vegas that is owned and paid for and managed by Las Vegas leadership, that is handed off year on and year on moving forward. Same thing with a Dropbox, cloud storage, wherever you're keeping cloud storage. Consider building a solution in 2021 that is a network in a box. Create your toolbox, your network in a box, but build it in a way like the microsite in concept, where ownership transfers because the network owns the website. Does that make sense? Back to you, Joli.
Thank you. Okay, so headed on to creating your event. You're going to upload your image. This is also where you're going to be able to find all your images that you've uploaded. Like Sam said, go in here, clean it up. It's easy to do. And this is where you will find, let me show you actually how to upload an image. There you go. So uploading an image, you will choose the event that you want. And then it is going to ask you what type of file you want it uploaded as. I always just do image. It's the easiest one. It never fails you, so it's perfect. And then it is uploaded, and it's going to be all the way at the bottom on where it's going to be at.
Hey, Joli, while you're on the screen, let's just leave you here for a hot second. Answering a question in the chat. This one comes from Mary. How do you know the size image you should be for the event? And I just want to have you highlight, if you would, Joli, in your middle screen where it says image recommended size dimensions, 1280 by 480 in this case. So Mary, if that makes sense, right? Oftentimes the interfaces that you're playing in, whether a website, a Facebook, an Instagram, a Snapchat, all of those resources, they tell us what size the image needs to be. And they're being more and more smart about it, like you see in the middle screen with Joli's, that here's the image size that yours needs to be ideally. And sometimes it will resize it so it fits nicely in that space, and any rest of it will be some white or black border as an example. But if you can get those dimensions, we can show you in a quick and dirty way how to resize any image to those dimensions to make it work. Back to you, Joli.
Cool, thank you. So clicking on submit and you are good to go. Now, when I create an event on the microsite, I always like to have some type of form open on the side, even Facebook, actually, it's normally Facebook, where I've already uploaded the event onto our Facebook page. So it's easy to copy and paste everything. So I don't have to retype it or anything like that. And creating the event title, good to go. The event date, this all is, they've given, I love this site so much, you guys. And so to have this super easy and simple concept, it's one of my favorites. And going down to here, end time, all of that type of stuff, your basic event information. Now, when you go down here, you can add your venue. So if it is an in-person event, you can add all your information. I always just like to say that it's virtual if it's virtual, so that way people know they're not calling us and saying, where's this event at? Your non-member pricing and your member pricing, you can, if you want free, you just add 0 to it and it will upload as free. Again, just show you how it looks when you're uploading this on here. If there was any pricing, it would be up here, but it shows you hosted by, the date and time, and the location. Your registration link, and this is where you're going to add if you're on Constant Contact on Zoom. Let me head over to our Zoom and copy it. You don't have to worry about any of this other stuff. Click submit, and then your description. You can add whatever type of description you want. This is where you can also add photos. To do your photos, you'll just click on your media picker, and anything that is uploaded already in here, you can select or you can upload like we did with the event image. So submit, and it will be here. You can center it if you want, whatever you want to do, play with it. That's the best thing about the microsite. Like I've said, you can't break it. So it's really easy. You can also do any event sponsors. If your network does event sponsors, this is where you can upload. Here, you can either upload their logo. This is where personally I put our strategic partners. In Las Vegas, we don't do a ton of event sponsors. So this is just where I put all of our strategic partners. Copy that. Normally, this is my Facebook page that I just have open that I can copy and paste. That way, just in case anything happens, especially right now, right? Everyone's working from home, internet goes down, and then you lose your project. So it's just nice to have something open that you can have safe. Same with your speakers. Personally, for this, we just put our local board because all of us will be there.
And a nice way to feature your local board.
Absolutely. And again, you can do images too. So if you want to put in your speaker or your whole board photo, this is a perfect place to be able to do that. And then your agenda. If you want someone to know the agenda of the event, this is a great place to do that. And if you don't upload any of this type of information, it's not, the speaker headline isn't left blank. It doesn't even show up. Which is nice. So if you don't upload any of the agenda information, the speaker, your partners, that type of stuff, it just doesn't show up in any of this, which is nice. So you don't look like you left stuff blank. And then you can also put your strategic partner list, which is cool too, and then save and publish. So I'm going to head over back to our website and refresh it. Go into our calendar. Oh. See our events. Doesn't like me today. There you go. So in our events, and then here it is showing up. And again, like I said, if your event's free, you just put the $0 amount and it'll show up for you right here. So that's adding your event. Now, in the beginning, I was talking about how you can add president's messages, any type of video. And the best way to do that is when you click create an event, you go to the back office. To get to the back office, this is the easiest way to do it, is just clicking on create an event. You don't have to create an event. So on the sidebar right here, it says Las Vegas, and I'll say your network name and your content. And this is where you can play with it a little bit more. So this is where your president's message is, and this is where you can embed videos. So to embed a video, and this was one of the things that I actually didn't know until recently. Sam showed me Chicago's state microsite, and they had a video, and I was like, I want to put a video.
Mm-hmm. Tracy Royal, will give her a shout out and credit for that. She did I had a professional video made where it was for our local Chicago network, her as incoming president for 2020, where it was sort of her announcement, and she embedded it on the microsite, and I was just like, I was impressed. And so nice shout out to you, Tracy, for that, so we can share it with the rest of the world.
Thank you. So I just headed over to our YouTube page. That's where I upload all of our virtual events personally. And to embed a video, you see this little like desktop up here. You will just put in the YouTube URL.
Look at that.
It's so easy. I was like, how did I not know this? You can also change the size of how big you want it to view. That's just some trial and error and seeing what it uploads. I just like to keep it this size, but you can play with it if you want. And then you'll click submit.
Keep constrained clicked, because otherwise it will distort your video.
Yes, thank you. And then you are good to go. And then it's already there. I just like to click save and publish.
Hey, Joli, Mary would like you to do that one more time.
Absolutely.
So
okay.
Slow it down. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so we are on you'll click on your network. And when you click on your network, you'll have these options. You have settings, hero area, all of that. You're going to click on content. So the first thing that you see is going to be your president's message. And this, again, you can upload videos up to here as well if you want to put, your president speaking or your board speaking.
Anywhere you see that little computer icon guy that when you roll over it, it says embed, that's where you can embed something like a video.
Correct. So I am in the center content section, and you will see this little desktop guy. What you'll do is just copy and paste a link. And I did try this on a Facebook video. It worked on the desktop, but it didn't work properly via your mobile device, just because you have to log in. So I just recommend putting it up from YouTube. Even if you do unlisted on YouTube, that will be so much simpler than putting any type of Facebook link or anything like that. So once you click retrieve, you don't even have to touch any of this. You can if you want. Don't touch this. Don't touch constraint, but you can touch the width and height if you want to play with it. And then click submit, and you are good to go. Mary, did that help?
And not unlike we talked about Canva, having a Canva account for your network. YouTube is your newest best friend for solutions for uploading videos, especially as it relates to the back end of our microsite. So if you don't already have, plan for your 2021 leadership. If you don't have a 2020 YouTube website for your local or state network, consider building one for your 2021 and moving forward, right? So that you can have a history and legacy and archive of videos and content that can be repurposed, and knowing that you can hide some so that public doesn't have access. You just want it there so you can grab the URL for a cheat to post it in the best way that we found as a solution on your microsite back end.
Absolutely. And to delete anything, you'll just click the backspace and it will be gone. And then just save and publish, and you are good to go. Let's head over to, once it saves officially, let's head over to the website to see how it looks there.
Will there be a separate class on how to create a YouTube website? Jeff, that's not a bad solution. We'll totally talk to National about rolling that out, whether it's us as the speakers, instructors for that. We don't know, but we'll definitely try to come up with something. Know that you can reach out to Joli and I independently to tackle that sooner than later if you want to, because it's a pretty quick and dirty, like 10-15-minute conversation in a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, great question. We can look into it.
And Joli and I, as we've done in this 2020 year, is we're going to have an ongoing meetup where Joli and I get together and showcase some things that we're working on or playing with. And we also build those in a way as a workshop. So you can come to any of our meetups that we'll post that we are personally putting on and bring those questions and concerns. And we can do a show and tell right then and there and walk you through it. So you leave in an afternoon ready to rock and roll with that solution.
Absolutely. And so this is what it's going to look like when you're on the main page of your microsite. And you will have all of your video links right there if you decide to embed a video. Also, really quickly, I want to talk about the leadership team. To make sure that your new leadership team is on there, please fill out that form that I know National has sent out. It is a JOT form, just making sure that they know who your leadership team is, so it will show up after January 1st. So just so you guys know, that's when that transition will happen. Yeah. Sam, is there any other questions?
Yeah, I'm working on an answer to one right now, but let's just address it openly. So a question was about like mass emailing. So if I create an event and I want to sort of mass email it to all of my membership, what's the easiest and fastest way to do that? And my natural instinct as a response is, you know, when I was in Chicago, as an example, a mega chapter at that time, I said chapter on purpose because it was 2014, 15. And that's how my brain works, is our network. We would, every time I needed to disseminate information to all of our membership, is my mindset was always go to the site, download my roster fresh and new again, in case there are new people, edits have been made to email addresses, etc., on people's profile pages. I want the newest, latest, and greatest email list each and every time I go to do a mass emailing. So I'm not missing that newest member. I'm not missing that person that changed companies or changed their personal email address on their profile page. So I always go there and then create your message however you're going to do it. And there are so many different ways that you can disseminate a mass email, be it something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, Outlook, whatever email interface that you're using. So just being mindful of that. There isn't one answer. Our microsite does not have a plug and play, let me mass email all of our membership at this time. Am I correct, Jeff, that that's not something that we have? But again, because he's taking mad notes over there while he's muted, he's going to put it on our wish list to be like, wouldn't that be pretty awesome? Because they're going to have that latest and greatest behind the scenes master list for us that maybe down the road it's something that'll roll out, but we'll put it on our wish list for sure. Absolutely. Thanks for your questions, everyone. These are great. All right, we've got 8 minutes to go in this hour anyway. What else have you got for us?
That is it. So if you guys have any questions, let us know in the chat. We're happy to answer them right now. And just remember, play with it. You know, don't be afraid of it. I know it's intimidating. Just have patience and play with it. It's really a great site. It's one of my babies, as Jeff said. I just absolutely love the microsite, and it's fun to play with.
And let's have you answer this one, Joli and Jeff, while we're in here. Is if I'm charging for an event, what's the best way to provide those links and resources, right? So as an example, Joli demonstrated to us where we can show what the fee is for a non-member and a member. More times than not, that link to register is going to be a link that you provide from a third-party solution, right? So if you're using Eventbrite, it would be their link for registration and payment collection. If you're using, what else are people using?
Most networks use Eventbrite.
Yeah, so for Las Vegas, personally, we use Constant Contact. That's just our full database. It's the easiest for us to use. So that's where you'll put, where I put that Zoom link, that's where you'll put your registration link. And then obviously the price section, you can change it. Now, personally for Vegas, we do a couple different price options, basically early bird and then regular. So it's just, if you do that, just keep in mind that you may have to go and change that, or whatever you prefer. If you want to put in, you know, at the door pricing, whatever you do, if you do change your pricings.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the tricky pieces here, right? Is you as a network decide on all of the answers to the questions that are needed for all of the publication about an event that you're putting on. If anything changes, the speaker changes, the title changes, the time changes, the fees changes, you have to be super mindful about where is that information out there, and go back and update it in all of those different peripherals. So whoever's going to be in charge of your microsite and publishing across the other sites, that team should be aware of whatever process you want to build in place, right? So if I'm using Eventbrite and Facebook and doing stuff on Instagram and our microsite, any of those places, you have to be super mindful about updating that content constantly as information changes, right? So you have a panel, but you have someone who's not been selected yet. Make sure that once you have them, that you put them everywhere. Does that make sense, guys? It's a lot of moving parts. So having a team that is responsible for each of those moving parts is really essential, and part of the collaboration in leadership, and where we all get to sort of learn different parts of the puzzle together by not having Joli do everything for the network, having Joli and a team of Joli minions working on those pieces together, so that, you know, the next year, other people know how to use some of these moving parts, right?
Yeah, and on my, so personally for myself, when I create an event and I put it on Facebook, I create, you know, put it on Instagram, I put it on, you know, the microsite, that type of stuff. I have a checklist in my phone. I have an iPhone on the note section, and it's just a new event checklist. So anytime I have a new event, I go into the checklist, I uncheck everything, because you can do bubbles now on your iPhone. And I do the whole checklist every single time I have an event. I do the microsite, Facebook, that type of stuff. So it's just having that checklist, that procedure, whatever works best for you guys, and just making sure that you hit those targets. But like Sam said, if there was a panelist that changed or the speaker changed, I go back onto that checklist, and that way I always remember to keep that updated.
Joli, as is no surprise to you right now, in the chat, we're getting a nice flutter of, can you please share what that checklist looks like, so that they have a nice working model of something that's been successful. And we also want to remind you, this is super important and crucial. Limiting who has access to the microsite, we think, is really important and essential. We think it's important in your network to have more than one person have access to the back end, because God forbid something happen with one of our members, that we have other members that can step in and pick up the reins and keep us moving forward. Never ever, like, be super careful and mindful. You can't have two people working on the website at the same time, right? And I hope that sounds and feels logical. If I'm in there uploading images and editing the president's message, and Joli's in there on the same site uploading and editing the president's message, there's no way it's going to work out on the back end, right? There's immediate conflict there. So being mindful and respectful of that, whoever is in charge of the microsite, they're in charge of the microsite, and they have a second person who is responsible if they can't fulfill that role and obligation. That's sort of our mindset around that. Joli, how are you? Do you have something you can put in the chat to people, a document or a checklist, or? Oh, okay.
So I do create a Facebook event. I make sure I post the Facebook event, post on Instagram, edit the Instagram link tree. We have a link tree on our Instagram link section, so you can have multiple links there. Post on the microsite, and then send to all of our partners. That's what is on my checklist.
All right, I want to help answer. Rose has a question, and it's about her membership list. And so, Rose, I just want to make sure. So if you want to unmute yourself and have this conversation live, let's do it. Are you trying to just ask your question again to us? Meaning, do I have it right in that, where do you get access to your entire membership roster? Or is it a bigger question than that?
I know you can get it from the site, but it was said before that you can also get it through Radius.
No, we're all on Radius, and maybe Jeff, if I'm not answering this right, please hop in. Rose, our Women's Council's relationship with Radius Agent, here's what's crucial. Having your profile on Women's Council as updated and accurate as possible links to Radius Agent. So the way your information and content is updated for you personally on Radius Agent is through our Women's Council profile on the back end. So that's the crucial linkage. And then using Radius Agent, using it as a tool for finding peers across the country for referral opportunities is its main use and purpose. But our link and relationship to it is our profile page as individual members for Women's Council. Does that help, Rose?
I understand. I know all of that. I just thought
Okay.
a different way to get a list. That's all I was asking.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have a comment from Kathy Delbridge, and it says, aha, I just found out how to pull the network list on Radius Agent. Woohoo, shows pics and everything. I think it may be pulling up a specific geographical area, which means, I'll give an example. If somebody lives in the Chicago area, if they live in a suburb close to the airport, they may belong to a suburban network. They may belong to a city network. So it may not pull up a list of that network instead of geographical area, unless there's some functionality I don't know about.
Well,
So,
Joli is demonstrating, and this makes complete sense, Rose,
Ah,
right?
here we go.
As a potential solution is, yeah, if I pull up all of Las Vegas as realtors in Radius Agent, and I say filter to only Women's Council, which we can, right? Or PMN. Can you can't filter as Women's Council? I thought you could.
It is on Women's Council filtered
Okay.
already. So when you go from the WCR website and click on find a member, it automatically filters the Women's Council people. Now, so this will just show you all of the members in Las Vegas that are Women's Council members.
Now answer me this, Joli, does this 162 list, is it duplicated in your membership list? Do those numbers match?
Yes, because we just had a board meeting last week and we have 162 members.
So there you go, Rose. What a great question. And somebody already had the solution. So the answer, Rose, let me just bottom line this for you. Yes, absolutely, Rose on Radius Agent. You can pull a list. But this is our whole point. Our whole point in all of this exercise is, people raising their hand and saying, I've got a question. Yeah. Someone else across the country saying, here's how I do it. Here's a solution. And then us sharing as a class to everyone here and present. Here's a new tip or trick. Now share it. Your job is to share that information forward. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, know though, Rose, that New Jersey is much like the Chicago area, and that geography does not necessarily define what network you are. Whereas Las Vegas, there's no other network unless there's a Henderson network or a Boulder City network. Anyone in the Las Vegas area will belong to that network. Maybe a little bit different in New Jersey. I'm thinking Southern California and areas that are these big kind of metroplexes.
It is different. I tried to do it and it didn't work like yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joli.
It's a good tip though for certain areas. So,
yeah.
Pull up Chicago and let's just see how many you get on that list, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, because Nevada only has 2 networks. We have Northern Nevada and then we have Vegas. So it's a little bit easier and they're not close together. So you have 78 on here.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Can you do it by county?
No.
You can do a couple of, no.
Maybe you can, I don't know. Radius is a great system. It's got a lot of functionality, so it's possible.
Oh yeah, you can. You can do it by county.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
Thank you.
Learn something new every day. Yeah.
You just have to make sure that in their profile that they select that county, because I just said Clark County, which is Las Vegas, and nothing shows up. So you just have to keep that in mind. But you can also do it by, again, like Jeff said, by like a location. So you can do the airport, you can do whatever. Radius is powered by like Google Maps, so you can choose whatever you want, but you just have to make sure that they have it in their profile.
So when I download the most recent list of Chicago, I've got 57 to your, what'd you have, 60 and change?
78.
78. Yeah, so they won't always match. And that's just the truth of the matter. But nice that Radius Agent has more than our local membership reflects.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you have somebody like, because using Jeff's example, we have Chicago, we have Northwest, and then we have North Shore, which are 3 networks that are all right there that all border each other. And so if you're in North Shore and you do some stuff like, let's say in Rogers Park, you can put in Chicago as one of the cities that you list as serving, and that's why you will show up on Chicago. That said, we are also working with Radius to improve our relationship and to improve the searchability. So we are aware of some of these things, and we're going to be working to increase and make sure that finding members through Radius is going to be even better than it is now.
Awesome. Yeah, and all of these things are going to continue to evolve around us. And so as new bells and whistles, National will showcase those, and that we as local members will showcase and share those in our private Facebook groups, and just outwardly and openly with each other. In the chat, I just provided 2 quick and dirty links to you, 3 quickly. One, a link again to the fonts that you can download, and also just a quick dirty cheat sheet that I have on my back end that has all of the colors and each of the codes for those colors, depending on what interface you might be using that pulls the colors differently. We've also provided to you the microsite fact sheet that National created and provided for us to share with you, and also your badge for attending class today. So feel free to download those. If you need any of those down the road tomorrow, later in 10 minutes, know that you can reach out to Joli and I. One of the other things that we wanted to tackle just before we had you guys, leave us, and we're a couple of minutes after, so we thank you for your patience and questions, is I've got a question, who do I call? Like, I'm running into a snag and a struggle, what do I do? Our advice as peers, so peer-to-peer conversation, is start hyper local always, right? Tap into the talent within your own local network. If you can't get the answer there, go to your state network. If you can't get your answer there, see what our directors and national liaisons, what they can do for you. Joli and I, we're right here in the local and state arena with you. So tap into us anytime, but there are many of us out there. So it doesn't have to be me and Joli. It could be someone else in California that is doing some really cool stuff with their microsite, or whatever your need might be. But our ask of you is start hyperlocal and then slowly keep working your way up. And if you're not getting the answers quickly and you're getting really frustrated, you can always go to wcr@wcr.org and email your question. And on our national site, like you can see right now in the bottom right-hand corner, is the chat feature. We encourage you interacting with that, because they will be able to connect you with someone who can help you find a solution, or they can provide a solution or a link to the answer, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got, many layers to get to the problem solving, but tap into the talent around you would be our first recommendation. Jeff, anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, just 3 quick housekeeping things. The fact sheet that was distributed, we will also distribute that via email. It's really good. It has a lot of the follow-up questions, and it may have some things that we didn't handle as well. Second is make sure and download that badge that we've given to you so that you can show that you're microsite training certified. And then third, we had a little snafu with the Zoom and only let 100 people in, despite it letting us have 200 people and me having thousands of people on my Zoom before. It's neither here nor there. Let your colleagues know that there's going to be a makeup session on December 8th. And additionally, all of you who registered for this, whether or not you were able to attend, we're going to distribute the recording. We ask that you watch it, and then you're admin certified. So we'll make sure and get that to you in the next 24 hours or so.
Thank you, guys.
Very cool. And then you guys are welcome to leave. We're going to answer some of the questions as they're still coming in. The link will probably be different for the December 8th class. So just keep an eye out for that. When you register for that class, the link will be provided. Where do you put the badge? Anywhere and everywhere that you want. Post it on social media. I have badges in my email signature. I use Outlook and an Exchange server. So I have a series of badges that I've been collecting over time from Women's Council and other organizations that are on the badge bandwagon. So anywhere and everywhere that you choose to use it is the answer. You can put it on your next business card, to be perfectly honest. You know what I mean? There isn't a right answer or a wrong answer there, but just showcase that you are actively continuing to learn and grow and That was my bottom line, quick and dirty answer, obviously.
And yeah, and so this completes a formal training. Those of you who have somewhere to go, feel free to sign off. But Sam, Joli, Patrick, and myself, much like when a live class ends, we'll just hang out for a few minutes if you've got any questions. You can just unmute yourself. And for those of you who are finished, thanks for attending, and you can disconnect at any time. And thank you all for attending.
Jeff, quick question for you.
Sure.
Someone who didn't get an email for this event.
Oh, and I'll stop the recording right now just so that we can distribute it. 1 second here. I'll press stop recording. There we go.
If I didn't get if I